Okay, to start, take your right hand onto your chest, take your left hand onto your stomach, and with your eyes closed for the first part, take a breath in through the nose, take the breath into your lungs only, pause and exhale out from there. So keeping the breath under your chin, high around your collarbones, keep your left hand on your stomach, as still as you can for the moment. Okay, from here, breath in through the nose, but a longer, deeper breath in this time. Lift the chest and make abdominals inflate, so begin to let your left hand lift and lower with that breath in, so trying to push the breath down towards your hips, towards your legs, and a much slower, longer breath out this time. Okay, with your hands then off your chest in your middle, put them now either side of your ribcage, elbows on the floor. And this time again, breath in through the nose. Taking the breath this time laterally into the sides of your ribcage, into the palms of your hands to widen. Where you'll pause. And with your hands to gently push against your ribs, send all the air out. Okay, and from that breath sequence, with your hands in place straight down by your sides, moving into shoulders. So we'll take this time your straight arms up and over your middle, over your chest, over your head. A couple of seconds to pause. Allowing the arms to hang nice and heavy from the shoulders. With the hands to come back over, rest them onto the floor this time. And for the next few, taking the hands over the top. As you take that long breath out, let the hands just travel as close to the ground as they can. And then returning when you're ready. Okay, and from arm arcs into arm circles, with the palms and face up, relaxing the arms to the ground. Let them sweep wide round overhead. Good stuff. So long exhale out, letting the arms relax. Try to get your forearms and the backs of your hands as close to the ground as you comfortably can, but without forcing them to the floor. If they need to lift slightly, that's fine. Okay, at this point, with the hands in place back down by your sides. So from arm circles, this time into arm reaches. So taking your arms straight and above your chest, turn your palms face in. Keeping your head, back and legs where they are. Lifting up the shoulders, so shoulder blades to round, up off the floor, reaching the arms up. And then keeping the arms straight, lower the shoulder blades back onto the ground. And continue then to lift and lower your arms up and out of the sockets to widen the shoulder blades. Okay, and at that point, just resting the shoulder blades down, keeping the arms straight and above your chest. Take one hand over your head, bring the other down towards your hip. So now into arm arcs, again in opposite directions, allowing the arms to cross over above your chest, where you'll pause, swap over again when you're ready. And as you start, taking that breath in, on your exhale out, letting the arms cross above the chest, taking the hands over the top and one to your hip. Okay, and then to finish off, we'll leave both hands over your head. Again, a long exhale out, letting the arms relax, nice and heavy to the floor. Okay, with the hands come back over, rest them onto the ground this time. From breath and shoulders down to legs this time. So if you take this time your feet one at a time up into tabletop position, with your arms a little bit wider, just for balance. Bringing the knees up to the chest, where you'll pause. Separate the knees and feet apart, let them circle round and away from one another, to then draw them back up to your chest. So into leg circles, and we'll do a few towards the chest, then we'll do the same in the opposite direction, so feet towards the wall. So smaller circles to start with, just to stretch through the hips, similar to the shoulder arm sequences. Change the direction. Okay, so from those leg circles, we're going to rest the feet together back onto the ground. And take the arms in a wide position with your palms face up. And moving this time into side to side stretch. So letting your head turn one way, letting both knees then fall to the opposite direction and hold. And then when you're ready, we'll then bring your head back into the middle, bring your knees also to the centre. Let them allow them to cross over in opposite directions. And you can pause for a few seconds longer if you like. If you're happy just to consistently move from side to side, if that stretch is better, it's fine as well. So from side to side, this time into single leg. So bring the hands back down by your side, taking your left hand on top of your hip and keeping your left side as flat and as still as you can. With your right knee this time, let it roll out towards the mat on its own. A few seconds to pause. When you're ready, draw the knee then back into the middle. So single leg fall out, left side weighted, heavier, grounded to the floor. Right side much lighter, rolling on the outside of your right foot. Letting the right knee come out, inner thighs are stretched through for a few seconds or longer if you like, and then draw the knee back into the middle. Okay, and then changing sides. Well, this time, take your right hand on top of your hip, right side to remain flat, heavy and still, really pushing your weight through your right foot to the floor. And like before, left side much lighter, let the knee roll out towards the floor, a couple of seconds to pause, and then draw the knee back into the centre. So inner thighs on their own, individually stretching through. Okay, then to finish off this part, we're going to take your arms wide this time with your palms face up, bringing knees and feet together. And at this point, let the knees then fall away from one another. Bring the soles of your feet together and hold that final stretch. The inner thighs, the tops of hip flexors just to stretch through at this point. So from this point then, draw the knees back into the middle, bring your hands down by your side, and just turn yourself onto your right side. So at this point, we're going to start to move into side stretches or side work. Book opening for the first and then leg sequence for the second. So to set up for book opening, it's keeping the knees together, tucked up towards your chest to remain still. Head can be rested over your shoulder or use a cushion or a block, with both arms straight, one on top of the other. And from here, we're going to lead that top arm across your chest, following your hand over with your eyes, turning your head, and hold that first stretch there. And when you're ready, draw that arm back over again. And with the hand then rested on top of the other, another option, turn your palm face up, begin to sweep the hand round over the top of your head this time. Both moves will finish in the same position. And sweeping the hand round over the top of your head again. So again, just making sure you can take that long breath out. You can turn your head and follow the hand over. And taking your breath out relaxes the ribs, lets the shoulder blades lay flat-ish across the ground. And keeping the knees nice and still and pressed to the floor. So this will stop you rolling completely onto your back. Okay, from this point then, staying on your side, moving into leg work this time. So to set up, it's bottom hand placed under your head. It's the top hand to rest flat down in front of your chest, and legs can be both straight or leaving the bottom leg bent from the move before. So just moving the top leg only. We're going to start to lift and lower. So towards the foot and lift a little bit higher. So just going to start working through top of hip, same with the glute, and a little bit of lower back when we get moving forward and back. So from the lift and lower, it's still keeping the legs straight. We're going to start to circle the straight leg round from your hip. So a few in each direction, but still looking to keep the spine, keep the shoulders as still as possible. Okay, and at this point, from the lifts and circles, this time leaving the legs straight, bringing the knee and the foot up towards me in front, leading then the straight leg out behind. So it's a straight leg sweep or kind of kick out in front. So allowing the back of the legs to stretch through at this point as you lead the leg behind its hip, glute and lower back. Still looking to keep shoulders still, keeping the foot level with your hip. And then to finish, well this time draw the knee this time up to the elbow in front and then lead the foot behind. So it's the same position, the same movement, it's back and forth. Rather than a straight leg, this time it's with a bent knee. You're going to draw the knee up high towards the elbow and then lead the foot out behind. But this will be clearer on the other side in a moment. So from that point you can rest, take the leg back on top of the other and then rotate yourself now onto your left side. So the same two stretches again. We're going to go book opening, so arms to start with first and then the legs next. For side leg work. So we'll take that top arm again, over the top of your chest, looking at the hand that you've taken over. A few seconds to pause, and then come back over when you're ready. So the first option is hand across your chest. The second option is to start palm face up. Let the arm sweep round overhead to pause, taking the hand round again. So working between those two positions, a long exhale out, following your hand with your eyes, allowing your head to turn, allowing the shoulders to drop and relax. So, from book opening again, staying on that same side, taking your bottom hand placed under your head, top arm to rest flat in front of your chest, and again, you can either leave yourself straight or you can leave your bottom leg bent if you like. So, to start with, begin to lift and lower that top leg, just above the other, smaller or larger lifts, it's up to you. And now we swap the rolls over, so it's the top leg doing all the moving, from hips up to shoulders, it's as still as you can keep. The shoulder blades, keep them stacked one on top of the other, the same with the spine, trying to keep it level. So from the lift and lower of the leg, start then to circle the straight leg round. So still the work is coming from the hip, from the glutes. Still looking to keep this as level as we can. Okay, then the final two, that'll be easy to see this time. With that leg to remain straight, we're going to start to sweep the straight leg in front of you, where you'll pause a moment, let the back of the leg start to stretch, and sweep the leg out behind. So again, more tempted this time for shoulders to move back and forth. So this way, the hand in front of your chest, keeping it flat, fingers apart, just to keep your shoulders as still as you can, will massively help. And then to finish, drawing the knee this time up to the elbow in front, pointing out and lead the foot behind. So giving the back of your legs a rest this time, more so now just to open up through hip flexors, through thigh, instead of kind of stretching and testing the hamstring instead. Okay, from that point, rest that leg on top of the other. So to finish off, prone work this time. So if you take yourself onto your front, we're going to start straight into shell stretch. So shell stretch is being feet together, knees apart. It's trying to sink your hips down towards your heels with a flat straight back, taking the hands as far out in front as you can. And we'll do the exercises in pairs. So we'll come out of this position in a moment, a couple of exercises back into shell. Sort of 3 rounds of this to finish off. So for the first pair, if you bring yourself out onto hands and knees this time. So we're going to go hands under shoulders, knees under hips, head looking forward, but keeping the spine of your head nice and flat. Spine work into flexion extension to into cat and cow stretch. So letting your head nod forward, letting the spine and your rib cage arch up towards the ceiling. And in reverse, let your head then lift to look towards the wall, drawing the navel down towards the spine. So putting that dip in the base of your spine. Again, use your breath however you need to. But as long as you're keeping your arms, keeping the legs still, and it's the head and the back that are moving in opposite directions, that's where you get that stretch through the base of your spine extended, and that flexed curve position through the spine as you're trying to lift the ribs up towards the ceiling. Okay, so halfway between this position, so head looking forward, back to stay level, from flexion extension, now into some rotation. So we're going to take your right hand just off the floor, and keeping the left arm straight for the moment. Can you thread the hand through towards the wall where you'll pause? Taking the arm out, taking a breath out, similar to book opening, leading the hand high as you comfortably can. From there, breath out, diving the hand through again between your left arm and thigh. So into thread the knee, you're having flexion extended through cat and cow. Now to rotate. So kind of widen the shoulder blades here as you sweep the hand out and high, it's bringing them together. So widen the chest, take a nice breath in. And then we'll change sides. So with the left hand to move through this time. Leading it round up and overhead. There's two options for your supporting arm. You can do this position where the arm is bent as you're leaving the arm out, or you can leave it as straight as you like, but be less movement through. So if you want to bend the elbow like this, reach slightly further through, possibly more of a stretch that way. Okay, so that's the first pair. From this point, just to rest the wrists and the shoulders, hands back onto the mat, into then your second shell stretch. So again, it's feet together, it's knees to widen to make that letter V between the legs. And slowing the breath down, try and gently relax the hips into the heels, sliding the hands forward. So for the next part, to bring yourself out, lay yourself completely flat onto your mat. So at this point, starting to move into spine extension or back extension in 3 stages. So for the first one, it's placing hands together, resting your forehead onto the back of your hand, leaving the elbows wide, trying to keep the legs and hips relaxed. From here, as we're prone, everything on your breath in to lift the head and chest up off the mat. So the first part of 3, nice and slow. As you take your breath in, you're going to lift the head, lift the chest, and then relax, take your breath out. So some will do a higher lift than others. We're aiming to get your hands and your elbows just to clear the mat ever so slightly or clear the floor, then rest back down. So keeping the elbows wide, keeps the shoulder blades where they are, keeps the work around the top at this point. And if you can ideally do this without moving your legs or twitching through your legs, that's brilliant. But if otherwise, smaller lift if possible, just try and keep as less work here as you can. Okay, so that's the first part. For the second, this time it's going to bring your hands, palms face down, elbows resting on the floor with hands a little bit wider. So you make that almost letter W with the arms or like capital E. This time, the move is slightly further down the back this time, so working down through the spine as we go through. For this part, you're going to take your breath in, you're going to move the shoulders down away from your ears, begin to peel up off the ground and hold, so you rest on your hands, on your forearms. So you can be adjusted, you can move slightly further forward if you need to, or where they are is absolutely fine. To roll yourself back onto the mat, so chest first, taking your breath out, resting your head just above or on the floor. If you've got a cushion or a head block, probably better to use one of those. So from here again, drop the shoulders down, At that point, take your breath in, lift the head, neck and chest up. This time you're looking a little bit higher, so taller, maybe more as the middle of the room or slightly further ahead than we did the previous one. Good stuff. And then the third and last one in this sequence, come up into a full straight arm press. So we're going to bring the hands back where the elbows were, point the elbows up towards the ceiling. Repeating the second part, the bit you've just done. So it's shoulders down away from the ears first. It's taking your breath in to lift the head, neck and chest up, where you'll pause. It'll be the closest part to the mat first. So down through the thighs, down through the hips, tucking the elbows in close and then rolling yourself forward back onto the mat. Again, shoulders away first, taking a big breath in, really lifting the head and chest up. And then at that point, it's hands to push down hard, coming up into full press. And then as you're rolling out, so as you would do for bridging, working up through the middle, resting up onto your head onto the mat, or go in the opposite direction. So rather than just a lift and a lower, it's slowly bringing yourself down onto your mat. Keeping the elbows tucked in close, that's working the hardest to control the speed as you come down. Okay. From that point, into your penultimate shell stretch. So yeah, just a few moments out of that extended position, just to drop the hips back onto your heels again. Give your wrists and your shoulders a couple of seconds just to pause. 2 more to go, and then we'll finish in shell for the last bit. So from here, bring yourself out back into one final box position or hands and knees. We'll do prone lift and then opposite arm and leg. So for the prone lift, the position you started in, your prone work to begin with, it's tucking the toes this time, pointing down towards the floor. And at this point, it's weight bearing, it's all shoulders, abdominals, and it's hovering your knees just above the mat. And it's as little or as long as you can comfortably hold for, whether you do a second or 2 at a time, whether you're happy to hold for longer. Again, absolutely fine. Make this more difficult, you can put hands further forward, you can stay where you are, you can put a ball in between that I'll do on another day. But notice how the knees are just coming off the ground, that the shoulders are level, back's flat. Good stuff. And the final one to finish off, moving into opposite arm and leg. So for the moment, we're going to go right arm with left leg to lengthen out in opposite directions and to lengthen out, not lift, looking to straighten the hand and the foot out towards the wall either side. Where you'll tuck back under the chest, you'll pause, send the same 2 out again. So again, stability on 2 points. Weight bearing again, abdominals to work. Okay, changing sides. So same thing on the other. We'll go left arm with right leg. Again, to lengthen out, to pause, and extend out straight again. Just remembering that it's a lengthening, that we're reaching out in opposite directions, we're not lifting up. It's to lengthen out flat and as level as you can. You'll start to feel your back or lower back arch too much. It's possibly a sign that you're lifting. So less is better for this. Okay, then from that point we'll rest the hands, rest the knees, take yourself back into one final shell stretch. So in this position, just take as long as you need, a minute or 2, slowing the breath down, trying to lift the head and chest up almost. On your breath out, lower the chest down towards the mat. And hopefully with this being the 4th shell stretch position, the inner thighs are starting to ease off. Same for the lower back, stretching out through the shoulders as well. And we will finish off there. Thank you for watching.